evening, everybody. This is the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council for Tuesday, May 29th, 2018. And for a moment of silent prayer. And we all should remember the people of Paramus and the family of Jennifer Williamson and Miranda Varda. Can you please lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by posting on the bulletin board in Borough Hall, by email to the Ridgewood News, the Record, and by submission to all persons entitled to name as provided by law of the schedule, including the date and time of this meeting. I'd like to remind all members of the public we have 3 fire exits in the council chambers, 1 on each side of the dais and 1 in the rear. Roll call, please.
Councilman Borreloni?
Here.
Councilwoman Steve? Here. Councilman Canito?
Here.
Councilwoman Davis? Yes. Councilman Godier?
Here.
Councilman Papaleo?
Here.
And Mayor Mignon.
Present. A motion, please, to approve the minutes of the Mayor and Council work session and regular meeting of May 14th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
1 abstention. We have 2 proclamations. We're going to do one now. We have. You want to give a little background, or?
No, they're going to say a few words after.
Okay. But this is. Should mention who's here. It's just so tonight we have a proclamation regarding gun violence, and the Riverhead Mom Demands Action Group is here to accept on behalf. And if there's people here who I don't mention, just tell me your names, they'll be recognized. Teresa Simone, Helen Santana, Diane Murray, Beth Hacker, Patty Rodriguez, and Cassie Collins. And I know there's more names than that, but we're going to get down here. So you want to just come up to the table over here?
Everybody.
And please remember to
There.
You know, I think there's a good portion of the young ladies who are not on the camera, so if they come and stand behind the mayor, they would be. And you can come a little closer this way.
Move down, everybody.
We don't fight.
Right, Claire? Okay, we have a proclamation that reads as follows. Whereas every day, 93 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 have sustained non-fatal firearm injuries over the past 5 years. And whereas Americans are 25 times more likely to be murdered with guns than people in other developed countries. And whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is the mayor's highest responsibility. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law by the citizens goes hand in hand while keeping guns away from dangerous people. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear arms on June 2nd to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing arms on June 2nd, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives and lost, fostering the potential of Americans stolen by gun violence. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now therefore, I, as the mayor of Pearl Riverhead, do hereby proclaim June 2nd as National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Pearl Riverhead, and I encourage all citizens to support their local community effort to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. Thank you for everything. I'm going to start with just say your name for the council so everybody can hear who you are. Claire, or you want to start right here?
Emma,
Emma?
Claire, Delaney, Morrison, Greer, Cassidy,
Teresa?
Beth, Diane, Patty.
Just a quick thank you on behalf of the River Edge Group of Moms in Ag Action. Thank you so much for granting us this request, and also thank you for making gun safety a priority for our town. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a motion, please, to open the public comment on any item on the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'm going to give Mr. Dunsey the opportunity to speak on a non-agenda item at this point, so we don't need to have him wait for the whole meeting.
Good evening. Thank you for making your time available. This is the 18th year that we will be running the River Edge Car Show. And over the years, every year we do a lessons learned so that we learn from our errors and how to correct them and make it better, hopefully, the next year. One thing that happened last year was that we had a lot of people, and unfortunately had to be turned away because we didn't have the space. But we came on with an idea about having those who register early will have the opportunity to enter early. The pre-registration entitles them to advanced entry. To do that, we, instead of having the regular opening time at 8:30, we wanted to have them available at 8 o'clock. So they had a half an hour window to enter early. And that works out well. The line that was normally formed, and that's people a little bit like goats. They always do what they did before. And they're going to go on Continental. And our fear is, quite frankly, that the line goes back to Kinnickinnic. We have an arrangement with Community Church that if the line should get back that far, that they can go into the parking lot and hold them there until the line shortens, and then allow them on. But nevertheless, it's been a rainy spring, and there's been several car shows that have been canceled, which means those people are going to decide, this year I'll go to the River Edge Car Show. So our problem with this is of concern. And knowing what we have to contend with, we would like to have the opportunity to put a line that's simply dedicated for that half hour between 8 o'clock and 8:30 to either queue up on Elm or on Millbrook, so that they're not commingled with the people who come at the regular opening time at 8:30. Because people show up, a lot of them travel from long distances. And when they get here, if they see that people that are commingled in the line, we'd have to ask them, are you early registration? And if they say yes, they would be entitled to come in early, which means they jump the line. That's a formula for a riot, because those people who are standing in line are going to see other people going ahead. So we would like the opportunity to have a special line for 1/2 hour for the early registrants to enter. And then after that, it's back to normal. But we think that that will relieve the pressure on creating a situation where the line could conceivably go back to Kinnickinnic Road and also cause a lot of negative feelings on people who otherwise would be waiting in line, seeing other people go ahead. The Cultural Center wishes to thank the Mayor and Council over the years for all the support that you've given us, and we're looking in this instance to to navigate this and be able to do it.
Thank you for your comments. I appreciate your concerns. We realized that was an issue last year, and unfortunately, it looks like it's a little too late to change the plan. I know you sent a letter to Chief Caridi. His recommendation is that we do not allow queuing on those other streets. And I don't know if council even wants to consider asking him to reconsider, but that would be up to the council. I think what this has shown us time and time again is that we need to revisit our special events ordinance, maybe clarify the process a little bit, maybe make it a little more detailed and expansive, so when we have people sit down initially, you can cover all the different things that seem, when year something falls through the crack that way, then, this year is another area can get considered. I think that the ordinance would be the vehicle in which we should be intended to take care of that. So, if any other members of the council want to make a comment or?
Well, I just wanted a clarification, Mr. Mayor, if we could. It seems that Mr. Dunsey is asking us to use Elm to line up cars that will then be parked on Continental, or is it to park the cars on Elm?
No. It's simply to line up for entry. They would be segregated from the line that would be normally on Continental.
Which is what I understood your letter to say, and maybe I'm misunderstanding the chief's response, because it talks about parking on Elm and not using Elm as entry point. Is that maybe something that we can ask the chief to possibly look at again? I mean, he's just asking to have a different
Yeah, but the chief's point is that, he says it, the continued expansion of entrance, while desirable, the cultural center should not require compromise of safety considerations or additional burden on residents boarding the event or attempting to travel to on the approved detour route around it. So I think his concern is that Elm is part of the detour. So if there are cars queued up, that's the conflict.
How many early registrants are you talking about?
Historically, the early registrants are in the neighborhood of 60, give or take 10. The last year we had 66. Some of those early registrants actually didn't get into the show. They were turned away. They registered early, but they didn't show up early. The detour goes south on Elm from Continental. We were contemplating having that, for that half hour, having them line up on north of Continental so that they would enter there, because there's very little cross street there. You have the Webb cul-de-sac, and the next one is Wales, which is quite a distance away, whereas the detour uses Adams. So it's not in conflict with the detour itself.
I'll leave it to the colonel. I don't even believe the ordinance has an appeal procedure. To me, the way I read it is that the permit process is handled through the clerk, chief of police, and the rec director. We have a recommendation from the chief. If somebody wants to ask him to reconsider, that's council's prerogative. But again, I wouldn't be comfortable overriding a recommendation by our chief of police for a number of reasons, and that would be my position.
And I spoke to him again this afternoon, and he was adamant that parking on Elm is not a good idea, even if for that.
Was he clear? So he was of the understanding of what was being asked?
Yes.
We are not parking cars on Elm.
Well, they'd be lining up, so I presume they're parked.
Maybe they're standing.
They're standing. Sorry.
Okay. All right. And the other place that we had asked for was Millbrook.
I think that's even a bigger issue. That obviously there's a lot more houses on Millbrook, so I think it's narrower.
Or Adams.
So I think,
Okay.
and he also mentions Millbrook on here anyway.
Yeah.
And parking on the grass for the same purpose, he said, as recently as 2 weeks ago. That's I don't know whether you spoke to him or not. That's what he had said back to us.
Well, I thank you very much for your time and consideration, and I hope to see you all at the car show. I'll be there. It's a great event and a much appreciated event by the residents and by the businesses. Thank you.
Any more comments by the council? No?
Do you
Thank
have a
you.
way of notifying the early registrants that they should come early? You know, like you said, they came last year late. If you had a way, email or whatever, to notify them that they should come early.
Well, this is precisely why we're trying to get total clarification as to where. The short answer is yes. For those who have given us their email address, we will distinctly tell them what the directions are and strongly suggest, and we'll try to discourage others who are not early registrants from coming early. But the admission ticket will be stamped clearly with the directions as to where to go, which is why we wanted to have this resolved, because we're going to have to send that to the printer and then stamp each of the admission tickets with the specific directions. So when they receive that ticket of early admission,
It'll be on there.
it tells them where to go. So we didn't know where to tell them until, so if the answer is they're going to be in Continental, then we're going to have a situation where we'll have people asking them, are you early admission or whatever? You're early? Yes, please go ahead of the line, go out of the line. I don't know what will happen after that. You know, and we're trying to deal with a situation that I don't think is going to a good place. But the decision is the decision. We're trying to mitigate and not have a situation, but it is what it is. So yes, we will communicate with those emails that we have. We don't know the people who are coming at regular time because they're not registered. Those that register
Yeah,
early,
just
we know.
one of the ones that did register.
Yeah, so we'll still send out the email blast. We have 500 emails of people who have been to the show that we've captured their email addresses. We will tell them, if you're not coming early, please do not come before 8:30. If you are registered early, please use the window of opportunity between 8 and 8:30 and get there, and people will just have to be understanding. But not everybody has email or reads the email, so we have no way of knowing how effective it will be.
How many cars did you expect to queue if you had the space on the hook or no?
I would hope the normal early registrants of 60. Now, we park approximately 2 cars per minute. So in a half an hour, we could park the 60.
But I'm just thinking maybe there's a logistical reason why you couldn't. Why couldn't you queue up on Continental on the north side near the park and direct certain cars to go there, whatever class they're going to be, so they can wait there, and then you can say, okay, now all your Mustangs are going into the parking lot, and you have that whole area going up in front of the park.
When you first say hello to somebody and you start having a conversation, during that conversation, 3 other cars have arrived. And you have to query them and ask them and explain to them politely what the situation is.
But
So
you
that's
folks
what
would
we're
know what
trying
kind
to
of car is
say.
which and which ones sort of are going to go where. I mean, you've done this.
No.
No, it's not the same setup
First
every year.
in, first come, first in.
But in terms of the specific locations, the cars.
First in, first in.
Okay, I assume it's been pretty consistent the way it's been.
There's the Mustang area in
Yeah.
the library, there's
And then
Camaro area that's up Continental.
That hasn't changed.
No, I mean,
It so
the
happens.
Firebirds are in
come
the
together.
community.
No, I understand, that's not the issue, I'm just saying that, to me, it seems like it's easier to maybe do it that way, and you already have access to that area, so if you can figure out a way to do that, maybe the chief would be amenable to that. I'm just trying to throw ideas out there.
Well, we've made a point, and I think after the show, we should have a post-evaluation as to what we could have done better.
Well, I think the chief does one actually every year as to how it
Yes.
went, and there's an internal within the police department, and there's been these constant,
Which is-
problems in
Which
terms
is
of.
fine, and we can sit and share that after the show.
That's certainly appropriate.
Good. Thank you again. Hope to see you then July 8th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angelo? Oh. Nobody else wants to, did you want to say anything or no?
As Peter said, it was the 18th year, it's been very successful. Peter really just trying to make it every year a little more successful. So we can have more cars, as you said. How many did turn away last year? Seven. So that's 70 cars that, we couldn't accommodate. All the money that we raised goes back towards the town activities.
But I think the reality is that because of the success, it's outgrown the venue, and we just may not have the space. If we can't use the side streets, which doesn't seem that's gonna ever be something that's gonna be routinely considered, we have to figure out a different alternative to give it the space that you need to expand it the way it's been growing. Because obviously, I think everybody agrees on one thing, is that it's a great show, it's a great benefit to the town, people really do enjoy it. Not only just the residents, but I hear a lot of things from other people because they know about it from outside the town. So it's a very positive reflection on the town as a whole. So it's certainly an event that we want to encourage, but we have to balance it with the needs of our residents also. Anyone?
On that subject, or something new?
Something brief?
No, it depends.
Come up. Because you'll just have to sit through the whole meeting anyway, so just, you're the only one here.
Coming here because I have a bamboo problem. My name's Wayne Murphy, 300 Webb Avenue. Years ago, my neighbor put bamboo along our property line, and I didn't really think anything of it at the time. I didn't know anything about bamboo. And he put up a wooden fence, so I couldn't see too much. Years went by, and some sprouts started coming up in my yard. Okay, I cut them down. Now, today, I have probably 50 patches of bamboo throughout my yard, as far as 35 feet into my yard from his property line. I really don't know what to do.
I know.
If I cut it down, I can't have children or animals running around because it's very sharp stuff. And this stuff is so invasive.
Did you?
There have been articles in the record.
No, but did you call the building department and speak to code enforcement officer?
I-
We had one other, maybe, have you?
It was
maybe
me.
before? Oh, was
I
it?
asked
Okay.
you.
Okay, and then I
It
stand
was very
corrected. So
nice.
I just remember him mentioning that there was an issue with bamboo last year.
Came out,
And we
I had to
floated-
follow up because he didn't get back to me right away, and said nothing he could do, and,
Well, we need to implement an ordinance.
yeah.
A lot of times it's on it.
The record,
And I think
for the
that's
past 3
something.
years, they've had 4 articles.
Yeah, no, it's happening all over the county. A lot of towns already have developed almost like a boilerplate kind of ordinance, and I think we should recommend Mr. Sarlo to
Yeah, but you didn't
get
get
that. Now, I don't know how we handle current, but to me, if it encroaches the property line, they have an obligation to abate that somehow. So, so we had to do something under property maintenance to address your situation.
I welcome you and invite you to look at my yard.
I don't need to see it, I believe you,
I mean,
and I know what an issue this is.
It's
So,
sprouting up now, and it's just a nightmare.
I don't know the means of mitigating it, how do you get rid of it, how do you stop it, we'd have to figure all that out.
Well, it's
It would be
very
incumbent on
costly
the
to
neighbor, he cannot encroach your property this way, and, we'll revert back to Mr. DeRosa, because then he needs to send a notice to that other owner that there's an issue here, and I said, we'll do our ordinance, but in the meantime, Mr. DeRosa would be the one that has to come up with some way to mitigate your situation.
I thought I gave him the opportunity last year.
Well, you may have, but we're hearing this now, so we will make sure that it's addressed more timely.
Mayor, I understand the need to look at an ordinance and everything, but in the short term, isn't he suffering damages? And I'll ask the borough attorney, doesn't he have a case against this
Yeah, I
this
don't want
neighbor?
Yeah, I don't want to give him legal advice on a neighbor dispute potentially, but yeah, I would certainly look into it.
But I see it starting at the property, there's a property maintenance issue also, so it starts with that, and that's the enforcement power the borough has. So if it's a pure neighbor dispute, we have no input, but I think there's a property maintenance component, so.
Matter of fact, it's starting to grow in the new neighbor's yard, in the
No.
back, it just moved in.
We know.
I warned them
Keep
already.
going.
And then it spreads out, the roots go down 3 feet, you have to actually block off. 60
Yeah, I mean, some of the ordinances
They go
are trying to split it in
very
half
down.
and let some go in. My feeling is that you can't do that. There's no way to plant it and ensure that it won't spread.
And
So-
Gideon, I'm very familiar, we've just adopted one recently in our town, so we've culled a bunch of the ordinances, so I'll give you some to take a look at. Get ready to adopt.
Does yours require that, or allow that concrete, like almost like a footing, or not footing, concrete
It's
planter below
very
ground?
restrictive, yeah.
But I don't usually still allow
I
that.
don't think we actually looked into that, just trying to.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be the preference,
Went that
too.
way. I just gotta go back and look at it.
Okay.
So, should I?
I'm
hear
asking,
from
well,
somebody, or is it,
Alec, will you refer?
Can I ask where on the property, I'm sorry, where on the property line it is in the backyard,
Side.
side?
No, the ordinance is the issue.
As a matter of fact, it was starting to grow up towards the front along my garage, his house. And he cut his down, I pulled out about a 7-foot root that was coming on my property.
I probably can guess the answer. I guess he hasn't been very amenable to your
Well,
concerns.
he should have known better, he's a landscaper. And he probably was unhappy because we didn't want a tall fence next to us. We have a chain link, he put a regular sized wooden fence, which is now falling down, it's completely rotted.
It's another property maintenance issue.
So should I be hearing from the code fellow, or do I don't know.
Whether you'll hear directly from him, maybe not, because he's actually, the issue is with your neighbor, so he has to deal with him in terms of advising him of the violations of the property maintenance code. As a courtesy, we could certainly make sure that he keeps you in that loop.
Please, because I really don't know what to do.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a consensus that we should solo?
Absolutely.
So moved.
Yep, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
For next work session.
Yes. It's a big issue.
It's a huge issue, and there is no stop.
Really?
But I remember Artie had mentioned.
You really do have to go down, like,
That far?
Yeah, but some of the ordinances allow that. I don't know whether I would want our ordinance to even give that the option, because no one's gonna oversee it, no one's gonna
Yeah.
certify it.
Clearly, it's not a native plant, it's not, you know, it's not, it's an, and it's invasive.
Something that we.
And it is dangerous as it grows up, it's very sharp, I mean, it used to be used as a form of torture. That, literally, to have the bamboo grow through, so it's dangerous.
Thank you for that cheery thought.
You know, a
little bit of history.
trying to fill in the time here, you know, we have some time.
Anybody else, Mr. Grasso? Okay. Motion to close to the public.
So moved, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Appointment of personnel changes. Motion to approve the salary increase of Anthony Pizzuso, labor in the Department of Public Works, from an annual salary of $44,359 to $44,865 due to a step increase from laborer 2, step 3, to laborer 2, step 4, effective June 17th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase of Eric Schultz, equipment operator in the Department of Public Works, from an annual salary of $65,638 to $67,667 due to a step increase from operator 2, step 3 to operator 2, step 4, effective April 6, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve the salary increase of Daniel Decker, laborer in the Department of Public Works, from an annual salary of $44,865 to $45,371 due to a step increase from laborer to step 5 to step 6, effective June 23rd, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Listed in the agenda are various pieces of correspondence which are available for review through the borough's clerk's office, if anyone is so inclined. We also have on file this one, a report from the tax collector for the month of April. We have one ordinance on for first reading this evening, ordinance 18-12. Madam Clerk, please read ordinance 18-12 by title.
Ordinance 1812, an ordinance amending chapter 206, fees of the Code of the Borough of River Edge.
And this was when we spoke at the last work session to allow for the collection of a $25 fee for the tree farm trees. Farmer's market was already in there, wasn't it? Or we're modifying that too?
No. Mayor, these are some fees that we had the license for, and a temporary food permit fee for sort of a truck or a van, but we never had the fee amount in the
Okay.
ordinance. We charged us for it.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilman Borloni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steve? Yes. Councilman Canito?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Gautier?
Yes.
And Councilman Papalayo?
Yes.
And there'll be a public hearing, I guess, probably at the next meeting. We have one ordinance on for second reading this evening, ordinance 18-11. Madam Clerk, please read by title.
Ordinance 1811, an ordinance appropriating $20,624 from the general capital fund balance for supplemental funding for the use undertaking of various improvements to the River Edge Senior Community Center.
And basically, it says exactly what we're doing. We're appropriating $20,624 to go towards the community center. To have a motion, open the public hearing on this.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're now open to the public for any comments for or against, or anything with regard to this ordinance. Seeing no one, a motion to close the public hearing, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 18-11?
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion? Roll call.
Councilman Borloni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Steve? Yes. Councilman Canito?
Yes.
Councilwoman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Gautier?
Yes.
Councilman Papalayo?
Yes.
Okay, we have a consent agenda, resolutions 18-180 through 18-204 and 18-206. Would any member of council like to pull any of these resolutions for separate discussion and or vote? If not, someone please make a motion to adopt them by consent.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Councilman Borloni, can you please read and move resolution 18-205, payment of bills?
Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee, now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $1,446,935.17. Capital account, $2,590. Recreation account, $2,559.42. Trust other account, $35,558.20. Open space account, $249.70. So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're open to the public again. Motion, please.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're open again. Mr. Grasso, another chance. Motion to close to the public.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We'll go through council comments. Councilman Canito.
Sorry, comments?
Comments.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to be very brief tonight. I just wanted to send my thoughts and prayers out to everybody who was affected by the tragedy in Paramus. I know that there's a couple of residents in town whose family were affected. As I understand it, they are recuperating. However, that horror is far-reaching, and like everybody else, I was incredibly sad to hear about it. So just my thoughts and prayers there. Thank you.
Councilman Davis.
I agree. Councilman Chinigo, actually, my next door neighbor was involved, and she's home from hospital, but not in great shape right now. So, on to happier things. I wanted to thank John Lynch and Rick Stevens for moving the wrought iron fence down at the south end of town, and they hung the two farmers market signs. Farmers market opens a week from today, and as of now we have 11 vendors. So we're moving right along. We have 3 new ones, and one of them is a bakery. I'm very pleased about that. Fire department, the Memorial Day event, a few of us were there at 10 o'clock, and then we moved on up to Memorial Park, and it was a nice event. I wish that more of the residents that are home would come out for it. It's very moving. Revis was at the health fair today at Cherry Hill School, Alan's Square, from 8:30 to 11:30, except for a small little bit of time when they got a call and had to leave. I'd like to congratulate Father Mike Sheehan, who will be getting an award for 40 years in his trip. I think it was Saturday. Was that his actual?
Oh, no, last Saturday was it?
This was just this past.
Yes.
This is actual.
Correct, yeah. And then Sunday will be the official. So,
thank you.
Thank you. I was away this weekend, so unable to attend the Memorial Day ceremonies, but I would like to thank the fire department for their involvement, and also to Joe Magiri for continuing to organize such an important recognition of our fallen veterans. What happened in Paramus last week is unimaginable, but I just want to share with the council and the public, for those that don't know, we had 2 young girls in River Edge, one who was celebrating her 8th birthday and decided to hold a lemonade stand to raise money for the students at Eastbrook. And it just goes to show how supportive our community can be and rises to challenges to help out our neighbors. They raised over $200 in 1 hour, and they'll be donating that to the GoFundMe for Eastbrook. They had a surprise visit from a Paramus police officer and a River Edge police officer to recognize their efforts, and it actually appeared in the record. So congratulations to those young girls for really showing the rest of us what it means to be kind and generous. So I want to recognize them. I don't know if Councilman Bartoloni will mention this, but the July 4th Committee of One could use some assistance for the July 4th activities. So if there's any members of, and Councilman Canigo. I'm sorry.
I've sent emails, I have said everywhere.
Sorry. The Committee of Two, sorry. But Carolyn Valdanza, our rec director, would welcome additional volunteers for the day's activities. So if anybody is listening and would like to volunteer, please reach out to her or to Councilman Bartoloni or Councilman Canigo. The Municipal Alliance Against Substance Abuse will be having its 2nd meeting on May 31st at 8. That is, there are opportunities for the public to get involved, so if anybody's interested, they can, of course, reach out to the mayor or myself, and we'll discuss with you opportunities to get involved. Stigma Free is meeting on June 4th at 7:30. That's an open public meeting. If anybody's interested in learning about their activities they're planning for the fall, please come out and show your support. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. My heart goes out to the teacher, to the student's family, to all of Paramus Public Schools. It's a very tough tragedy to live with. And as an educator, I've been on that trip, many times. And so it's kind of a scary thing. I'd also like to thank the fire department, the DPW, and all who, and Joe, as well as the veterans for the lowering of the flag at 9 a.m. for the fire department's memorial at 10, and back to Memorial Park for the ceremony. I thought it was very beautiful. Shade Tree Commission and Beautification both met at their regular meetings, and I assisted beautification and planting here at Borough Hall. Planting continues. They're doing a great job for River Edge, and I just want to again thank Michelle Caridi for organizing that. And that's it. Thank you.
Councilman Bartolone?
Thank you, Mayor. I also just want to send out my condolences and sympathy to the people in Paramus and Eastbrook Middle School. Obviously when I heard about it first, I have a 5th grader, and so it just, it hits you right in the heart. And then you see the picture of the little girl and the teacher in the paper. You can't just, feel terrible. New Jersey, ironically, is it's only 6 states in the entire country that require lap belts. And of those 6, only 2 require shoulder restraints, California and Texas. So I hope and I urge our legislators to change that, to require shoulder straps be on all school buses. It makes a significant difference. There's a reason we have them in our automobiles, and they should be in our buses as well. So I'm hopeful that that'll change. The police department and the PBA had the lead graduation this past week. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it on Wednesday. I was out at something for work, but it was well attended. I did get to go there later in the day. It was well attended, and it looked like it was a fantastic event for the kids. And it's such an important thing. One, for our children to get to know their officers in town, but just the message that it delivers is increasingly important in this day and age. So thank you to the officers who put that event on. Memorial Day, thank you to Joe Magiri and for organizing the memorial at the park, and for the fire department for their event, their memorial as well. Both very nice events. The fire department actually, while we were waiting, actually had to go on call, and so we had to wait for them to come back. But you can just see even they don't stop for something like that. So thank you to them. The 4th of July committee. I did have a chance. I met with Carolyn for about an hour last week, and we went over a lot of stuff. She's working on right now getting sponsors and vendors for the event, and executing contracts that I procured for various people for the blow-ups for the park and the concert the night before and things like that. So she's working on finalizing that. But obviously the day of, we do need people to help where vendors are going to go and things like that. So, that's going to be important. And, the mayor brought it up, in terms of special events. We tried it. It failed. It didn't work, but maybe it's time to try and resurrect it, more of a special events committee. If there's ever going to be a Memorial Day parade again, that's something that a special events committee would have to handle. The car show, perhaps that's what's needed, a little bit more organization and oversight of that as well, and even 4th of July. And then if there's ever anything else that we ever want to do, you do need people, you need bodies to organize that. So maybe that's something we can revisit in the future.
and I'll let the mayor touch on where we stand with TV, because we're really darn close. So I'll let him go.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo the sentiment, everyone's sentiments about the victims of the Paramus tragedy. You know, I know all of our thoughts and prayers go out to those individuals. Having children that go on field trips myself, you know, you just think about your own family and how that would affect you, and it's a very sad thing. There are several GoFundMe pages that were set up to help the victims of the tragedy, so I encourage everyone, if they can, to go on those pages and help if they can. I met with members of SCORE, the senior citizens of River Edge, on the 21st, and that was nice meeting everyone there and learning a little bit more about what they do. And I attended the Memorial Day event yesterday. It was a lovely event. They do a great job.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just echo the sentiments regarding Paramus. It's just a horrendous thing when you leave for school and have such a happy day planned and things happen. And it's good to obviously do what we can to improve safety and everything. But again, it's a situation could have been prevented. We had a driver who made poor decisions, who apparently had issues with his driving record. And I think what also is needed is stricter requirements, maybe testing requirements, more registration requirements for people who drive public vehicles, because tragedy would have happened if the man did not make the choice he made. And that's to me always the saddest part of these things, that when they could have been prevented. I also wasn't able to attend the league graduation, but is Sergeant Body's still in charge of the program? I know we recognize.
Yeah, I didn't see him there.
But I think he was
Lieutenant Walker, yeah.
Lieutenant Walker, and I know, Officer Preisinger got recognized for his work in lead, so we know it's an effective program, and the police department did a great job implementing it. Also, going back to the Paramus incident, I do want to thank Chief Corretti, because I was concerned whether we had residents in town, if anybody needed any support or anything. So I do appreciate his efforts during the day to try to get information when it was very difficult to get. So, I did appreciate that. Memorial Day, Joe always puts together a very moving and nice ceremony, and I think Council was correct. Going forward, some of these events have to be organized by a larger group. My thought with Memorial Day is treat it more like we do the 9/11, and it's basically it's similar in terms of the type of program it is and the pieces. So that's usually organized through fire department, police department, emergency services. I'm sure we do have some local veterans who already had expressed interest in wanting to help on that. But I would say that as long as Mr. Majiri wants to be in charge of this and direct it, he is entitled to do so. It's difficult for him. I know he has a lot of personal issues going on, but he was able to get the ceremony together, and it's appreciated. Oh, I think we got the letter in our packets, and it was a surprise to me. I was surprised everybody. That the DOT has given us a $200,000 discretionary aid grant for the long-awaited completion of Howland Section 7. Yeah. That was, certainly a surprise. That's a significant number for a discretionary amount. I guess they do have more money with the gas tax and everything, but I'm glad that it came our way, and we'll get Howland done. It's been a long time. TV, everything over there is there. We actually have a live channel right now, RE33. Go on Verizon. I don't know the number on Verizon. Yeah, that's Verizon. I don't know what we have on cable yet. I'm calling it RE, but that'll be RE33. 33. And we're And I want to thank Nick Bisnick from Oriole TV. He's been just crucial in helping us get the right equipment list together and steering us in terms of installation and vendors. And actually, he's helping us once more because we had gotten some different quotes, and he had some suggestions on how to standardize the bid requests, so we're all getting apple to apple to apple. Some of the stuff was not there, so we're doing that right now. Hopefully we'll get that soon. I'm not going to hold him to it, but he did say that he may come to our June meeting with his camera. We'll just do a little test, just a little feed to see how it works. With anything official, I don't think it'll be the whole meeting necessarily anyway, but it's exciting that we're getting that close. And thank you, Councilman Bartoloni, for everything you've done. Treasurable the past 7-8 years to get this happening. I said it's going to be I think it's going to be a very, very good thing for the borough. All right. I'm going to ask for a motion to recess for 15 minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Recess. All in favor?
Aye.
Councilor McConnell. Madam Clerk, please take the roll, please.
Oh, Councilman Barloni?
Here.
Councilwoman Steve? Here. Councilman Knigo?
Here.
Councilwoman Davis?
Present.
Councilman Dottier?
Here.
And then Councilman Papaleo?
Here.
And I'm still here, too.
Oh, and the mayor.
And perfect timing, we have Father Mike Sheehan from St. Peter's here this evening, who this past Saturday marked his 40th anniversary of his ordination into the priesthood. And he'll be having his Thanksgiving Mass this coming Sunday, and there's a testimonial dinner for him. And we thought it'd be appropriate for the borough to recognize you as one of our very influential and important citizens. So, Father, if you want to come forward.
The proclamation that reads, whereas Michael J. Sheehan, Father Mike, was ordained by Archbishop Peter L. Ferry as priest of the Roman Catholic Church, Cathedral of the Sacred Heart Basilica in Newark, New Jersey on May 27, 1978. Whereas Father Mike served as a priest in the parish of St. Livingston, New Jersey from 1978 to 1988, Immaculate Conception of Montserrat from 1980 to 1992, and Sacred Heart of Howard, 1992 to 1996. Whereas Father Mike was appointed pastor of Annunciation Church of Christ in 1996, which was to align with other competent people in Kyle's role in the restoration of the church. Whereas Father Mike was appointed pastor of St. Peter the Apostle Parish in River Edge in 2009 and continued to serve there since. And when Father Mike served as director of the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults, known as RCA program. Program very near and dear to his heart for 17 years. Whereas the past, Father Mike created St. Peter's Parish Food Pantry that presently now serves 15 to 20 families on a weekly basis, while providing holiday meals for those in need. Whereas Father Mike brought our parish to the Borough River at St. Peter's Chronicle, which has become a joyful annual tradition and raises community spirit. Whereas Father Mike is well respected and admired by other faith-based leaders and promotes thoughtful interfaith dialogue and initiatives for the betterment of all residents of our community. And whereas this week Father Mike celebrates the 40th anniversary of ordination and is celebrated Mass of Thanksgiving on Sunday, June 3rd, 2018. Now therefore be resolved that I, the Mayor of the Borough River, on behalf of the Borough Council, and all residents, joint members of St. Peter's Apostle Parish, and the larger River Edge community, and offering our sincere and heartfelt congratulations on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of Father Mike's ordination. Be it further resolved, the Borough expresses thanks and gratitude to Father Mike for his continuous and enthusiastic support for our local civic and service associations and best wishes for good health and continued dedication and service for our community. And be it further resolved, the Borough Clerk 2017, June 3rd, 2018. Father Monday in the Borough of Riverhead, and called upon all residents to kindly pay tribute to Christ and the goodwill and works of this mountain.
Thank you very much, everyone. I was thinking during the day today that actually 41 years ago, I came here to St. Peter's in River Edge as a deacon for 1 year and served with Monsignor Kazaza. And then I was, so this is my first experience of parish life. And I came back 30 some odd years later into a community that had continued to live out the mandate of kindness, justice, love, support, encouragement, community of people who care about each other. And that's why I am the happy priest. This is nothing that I've done, but a community like this that has always lived out those kinds of values. So it's a pleasure for me to accept this. I thank you, but I want to thank this community for all that they have always been and what they've given to me. So thank you very much. As you may know, we had a first Mass at St. Peter's this weekend. A young man was ordained a priest and said his first Mass at St. Peter's since he was associated with our parish, since he came from Columbia to study for the priesthood here. So after he celebrated his first Mass, I said to the community, and I've been to ordination many, many times, but I was there on Saturday at the cathedral watching this young man, Father Gabriel, get ordained. As I celebrated my own 40th anniversary, I thought, well, when Father Gabriel celebrates his 40th, I'll be 110 years old. I gotta look forward to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father. Thank you. Is there anything I have to sign? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to all you. Thank you. Thank you. I will treasure this. Thank you.
Any more business before the council?
Yeah.
Any more?
It was excellent. You have them all in there.
Any other business we need to discuss? Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Oh, sorry.
That was very nice. It was very nice.